Hello, my name is David Batten. Today I'd like to show you a Google Maps API tutorial that I've done and kind of show you the code, kind of explain what's going on, and a few modifications at the end that I made. So to start off, what this application is just going to display a map and let you go to a location, and it's going to show you places that's nearby that location, and you can click on it and it will put an icon on the map. This is just an introductory to Google Maps and Places. It kind of gets you familiar with how to use the API keys and things like that. And that's what this tutorial was about. So first, let's go down here to some values. There's a few key things that we had to do. We had to go in and set Google's API key, which I'll cover that in a few minutes of how you get that. And I also added in a little bit of extra security and configuration setups, which I'll kind of go over at the end how I did that. And so that's kind of important that you're going to need to be able to do that. And next, we've got maps and activities. Lots of stuff to import here to use all these places. Lots of variables to set up. Basically, we're going to go in and we're going to create all of our standard stuff on create. We're going to list out our maps, our API keys, get all this stuff brought in, and display it. We got to get our own items selected, set up, on map ready. Our locate permissions, you have to ask permissions. If they give you the permissions, it's going to zoom in and show you the places to the default location. Since we are using a emulator, we won't get the actual location where I'm at, but you can set a location that it defaults to by entering in a latitude and longitude right here. And for this demonstration, that's where it's going to go to when it shows locations. So, and you got to on permission request results. If they give you the permissions, then they're going to process it. Otherwise, it goes to the defaults. Get current place likelihoods. So this is going to be based off that geolocation. Then it's going to show you places like stores and stuff that's nearby that's in Google Maps. And we've got our get device location that's going to process that. Again, this is going to get our default location that we've got coded into the emulator. And pick a current place. This is a method that we can click and it's going to add a marker to the actual map. And you'll see here in a minute when we get to that, and some event listeners to handle all of that and to populate the actual list of places. That was the majority of the work that we had to do. We had to go in here and also add a few strings, and we modified the style to have no action bar. On top of that, there was a couple of services, Google Play services and libraries that we had to add to our build grader in order to get it to build. And of course, when you do that, change the theme, we had to come in here into the Android manifest file and make sure our theme was there. And we had to make sure our metadata for our keys and stuff was here, all set up the way we needed it. Alright, so now that I've given you a quick little demo, let me give you, the activity maps XML before I do that. You'll get a warm fuzzy what it's supposed to look like. So the top part of this is going to show the map, and then this list right here is going to be the list of places it pulls in from the Google API, and when you click on one of these places, it will drop the red teardrop icon onto the map. Alright, so let's go ahead and start this up. So this starts up. Right now it's just kind of showing the default location to Google Maps because it doesn't have a location. Again, that is due to us using the VM. And we want it to go to our location. So I'm going to click on the location and it's going to zoom in on the default location, and you can see it's hitting the Google API. It can connect to it, and it's getting a list of places from the Google API. So if I go in here and click on one of these, I can get things to show up. And that's pretty much what this does. If this is the first time you're running the application, you'll get a pop-up requesting permissions. If you choose yes, let it, it will remember that setting and not ask you again. As you saw that I did not have a pop-up. If you hit no, I don't want to give it permissions, it will go to the default location over there where you saw in Australia, and it will ask you every time you start it up until you click yes, and then it will remember that. So that was the tutorial, the overview of what that goes into. So on the back side, I do want to go into a little bit of the API keys and how you guide that, and the additional security settings and things that I've added. So the easiest way is when you copy your API key is just literally paste it right into here. That might be good if you're just doing quick development and want to check it out, but you also kind of want to do a little bit of security setup in the background so that you don't upload it to GitHub and it gets out there and other people start using your API key and charging you lots of money and stuff. So the way that I chose to do this is I created another resource file called secrets.xml, and what I did is set up this resource with a string called Google Map API, and there's my API key right there. Okay. Yep, I'm showing you. It's good. I'm going to regenerate a new one and delete this one as soon as I'm done with this video. Plus I've done security on the website too to prevent other applications from being able to use it. So what we did there, and if we go over here into my files, I opened up my gitignore file, and which I already have open down towards the bottom here, and I put in this value right here that says navigates to this file, say don't include it into GitHub. And if I bring up my GitHub, you can see my last commit was about 15 minutes ago, but I'm going to come in here into the resources, into the values. Look, no secrets. So this file does not get uploaded there. So it's good for development and what you need to do. And if you actually was going to deploy it, you would probably need to do another configuration for actual deploying the live one. But for this demo, this is where I can stop for now. Okay, so what does all that mean? So on the Google Cloud Platform, when you're logged in into your project, you want to go to credentials and you have your generated key. And you can copy that key and paste it into the application. You can also go in and edit key preferences. Now by default, this is not restricted, and that restriction is the extra things that I've added in, and I kind of wanted to show you that process because it requires a little bit of setup. So the things that I did is I restricted it to the Android API or Android apps. I also came in and gave it my package name that's inside my Android files. You can see right here, com.example.currentplace. So it's restricted to anything that has that, and I have to have the security footprint. This is actually going to come off your computer, and I'll go over that in just a moment. But you can add that item by doing that right there. And then you got your API restrictions. I also clicked restrict keys, and I want it to restrict the two things that I am using, and right there. And then I can click done and save everything. On the right hand side right here, depending on which system you're on, you got your debug certificates. That's this key over here, and then of course a release certificate. So what this is doing is just showing you on what you've got to run on your local machine in order to get that to get KeyTool. So in order to get KeyTool to work, and you can verify that you have it up and running correctly, you can just simply go to your command line and type in KeyTool, and you should see key and certificate and management tools and that's how you know that you're good. And you can see here, this is where I ran the command line, and I'm running on the Windows, so that I use the for Windows key right there, and it generates these list of strings and the footprints and stuff. So, but if you're getting an error that says key tool can't be found or doesn't know what it is, it's because you need to point your JDK to your path. So in order to do that, at least on a Windows computer, if you open up your computer and go to this PC and click on Properties, you want to go to Advanced System Settings. You want to click on Environmental Variables, and then under System Variables, you want to go to Path, and you want to edit this. Now I've already had it edited right here earlier, so I'm just going to copy this and hold on to it, and then I'm going to delete it real quick. And I'm going to hit OK and OK, and I'm going to close that out. Now if I go back here and hit Key Tool, it hasn't updated my system yet. So let me click OK right there. Well, that's not doing what I was hoping it was going to do when I removed it. Maybe my system's smart enough to remember it. So anyway, if you are getting an error and it doesn't recognize Key Tool, that's how you can go in and put it in your file, is by going to the My Computer, clicking on Properties, Advanced System Setting, Environmental Variables, and adding it to your path. You can click on it that way to a new one, and I just go into Edit and New. I'm just going to put that right back there. It took me like 20 or 30 minutes to figure that out. So, and you can run it and get that command. And again, that's all you got to do. And like, here's my key and stuff like this, so I can delete these credentials, and I can regenerate a new key that will get rid of this one and put a new one in, which I'm going to do here in just a few minutes. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.